We got shirts on sale. Express your love for the evolutions and the new channel rebrand with an evolution t-shirt and hoodie. On sale now. Also, if you like anime, go check out our anime channel Mystic Sage for awesome anime content. And be sure to follow me on social media so you can stay caught up with the channels and me. Links will be in the description below. So I was looking through the Pokemon Sword and Shield Pokedex, and found some Pokemon I thought were rather interesting. I have so far played through Sword and Shield a couple of times, and there are still some Pokemon I don't see people using very often. I'm not sure whether it has to do with favorability, or if it's because someone thinks a Pokemon is overrated. I don't know, the reasons could be many. One thing I do know is that every Pokemon deserves to get a little love, even if people dislike it. To be honest, I may even try and use Pokemon I dislike for the sake of just trying something new. Today, I think we should all do the same. That's why I have compiled a list of 10 Pokemon from Sword and Shield I think everyone should use in an in-game playthrough at least once just for the sake of it. Some Pokemon on this list may surprise you, and some may not. Regardless, even if a Pokemon is used a lot, there are still a lot of people out there that won't use it for the sake of not being basic. I, for one, am actually one of those people. But today, I'm going to throw that pride aside, and I'm going to try some new Pokemon out. So that being said, I think all of us should too. Without any further ado though, let's hop into this list of Pokemon I think everyone should use at least once in Sword and Shield. Coming in at the number 10 spot, we have a really underrated Pokemon in Grapploct. Now, Grapploct is a very late game Pokemon, so it'll only be able to really serve you for the last two gyms, the boss battle against Charmander Rose and Eternatus, and finally the Champion Cup. But even with that being said, I still have to give it my seal of approval. For one, you can always get a Cobblepus earlier from either trade or a max raid battle, so that helps with the late game problem. But honestly, it's fine getting it late game, as it really isn't even good until it evolves into Grapploct. It evolves into Grapploct once Cobblepus levels up knowing Taunt, and the easiest that will happen is at level 36, unless of course you get it in TR form. But once you have a Grapploct, you're set. It's got pretty great physical attack, solid defenses in bulk, and access to pretty great moves like Ice Punch, Brick Break, Liquidation, and Stomping Tantrum. I mean, also, come on. It's a wrestling octopus. That's pretty awesome. And if you're lucky enough, you might just get a shiny one, which is probably one of the best new shinies so far. So yeah, give Grapploct a try. You probably won't be disappointed. Next up, we have the Black Tea Pokemon, Poltergeist. I mean, right off the bat, you should just want to use it for that naming pun. I mean, it's a poltergeist that possesses a teapot and the tea inside of. It's honestly one of the best naming puns this series has to offer. Now, of course, you'll have to get your hands on a Synestia and Glenwood Tangle first, and then you'll need to evolve it with a cracked pot, which you'll be picking up at Stoneside beforehand. Once you have your Poltergeist, you'll be greeted by its fantastic special attack and defense stats, which lets you know that it's no slouch when it comes to dishing out attacks and taking them too. Having access to a great move pool that includes the likes of Shadow Ball, Psychic, Giga Drain, and Dark Pulse actually puts that special stat to good use, so it's not just all bark and no bite. I will say hopefully, the Synestia you get in Glenwood Tangle will be the phony form. Otherwise, you'll have to search for one. The antique form can only be evolved with a chip pot, and that item is extremely hard to get your hands on. But the antique form is hard to get as it is, so there should be no problem there. All in all, I think Poltergeist is definitely worth getting and having on your team, and that's Statesis. The third Pokemon we're talking about today is the first Galarian evolution we were ever introduced to, Obstagoon. Yeah, when I first saw this thing, I knew I had to use it. I even intended it to be on my team in my initial playthrough at one point. But as you all know, when you encounter new Pokemon on your journey, sometimes you have to make tough decisions. And choosing to not use Obstagoon during my playthrough was the toughest decision I've had to make in recent times. It's just such a cool Pokemon. I mean, sure, it's got that 4x weakness to fighting, but I think it more than makes up for that with its solid bulk, speed, and physical attack stat. It's got a pretty great move pool that it can work with as well, so it's not just a one-trick pony. I mean, if you've watched all the multiple best team videos on Sword and Shield, you would definitely know how good it is to use. It's not even all that hard to get. Just level up blinding to 35 at nighttime and you're pretty much set. I really do love Obstagoon. He's definitely one of the best evolutions we got this gen, and that surprise reveal of it and the other regional variants will always hold a special place in my heart. So it's only natural I want people to give it a shot in game. Up at number 7, we have Corviknight. Now the reason that Corviknight is here is because I think some people out there don't really appreciate what Corviknight is capable of. It's essentially better than Skarmory. High defenses with the power to actually use. Body Press is available for use on Corviknight, and with that kind of power, you can decimate the endgame. I still think a lot of people don't know that Body Press can even be used on Corviknight. When equipped with Iron Defense and Body Press, it's a wrap. It's the best flying Pokemon in Sword and Shield, and my personal favorite regional early bird. I can name 2 really great things about Corviknight. 1, you can get it very early in the game. You can literally pick it up dang near right after you pick up your starter. Secondly, it's a regional bird. Most regional birds are awful, and usually suck through the mid to later parts of the story. Corviknight holds its weight, literally. A lot of earlier captured Pokemon can't do that, let alone most regional birds. So for those who think it's overrated, give it a try and you may change your mind. At the halfway mark, we have one of the most surprising evolutions on this list, and that Pokemon is none other than Colossal. Now I knew Roly-Poly was going to be awesome once it evolved when I first saw it. I got major Roggenrola vibes from it, but I never thought that small piece of coal would turn into a minecart full of coal, and then into a dinosaur mixed with the train in a furnace. Now that's some creativity right there. It even gets a Gigantamax form, which isn't too shabby either. Now when looking at its stats, that speed might disappoint you, but your Colossal will likely have Steam Engine, an incredible ability that raises Colossal's speed 6 stages if it gets hit with a fire or water move. It might be 4 times weak to water, but with that incredible bulk, Colossal will be able to take a hit or 2 before even going down. And with the maxed out speed stat, it'll be very hard for any NPC to outsmart you. I'm definitely not going to recommend this thing on a competitive team anytime soon, but for an in-game playthrough, I think you'll have quite a bit of fun with it. Another Pokemon I have used before is Boltund, and I know some people don't like it very much. Trust me, I know. I was you. I didn't want to use Boltund period because I thought it was overrated and everyone was using it, etc. But trust me, once you use it, you change your mind on it. Literally, I picked up Yamper, and from the moment I got it, it was coming in so much handy in dealing with all the water and flying Pokemon across Galar. I will say though, I do enjoy using it, however what held me back from using it was its design. This actually still holds true today. I'm not a huge fan of Boltund's design. I know almost everyone loves Yamper and appreciates its design, but don't look for Boltund in terms of design. Look for it in terms of how well it's going to do for you in a playthrough. Now while it may not be as great as Toxtricity, it still is a great Pokemon nonetheless. I obviously push for Toxtricity a lot more when it comes to a best team, but when it comes to just using another Pokemon for the fun of it, I heavily push for Boltund. It's a really fun Pokemon to use, and the better part about it too is its speed. Having high speed always makes it easier for a Pokemon. Another cool twist too is it's primarily a physical attacker. We don't see very many electric type physical attackers that often, so that's something fun and different as well. Okay, so I have talked about Barracuda a ton of times on the channel already, especially back in December when we were on our Pokemon Sword and Shield grind. Barracuda is the definition of a GOAT water Pokemon. Dynamax Max Geyser of Swift Swim is incredible. I know that Dynamaxing is banned on Smogon, but who says we can't use it in-game, dang it? Barracuda is the Shredder. Put anything against it in a gym battle, and prepare to get obliterated. Oh, and it also has Swift Swim, which means its speed is doubled in the rain. So yeah, take that into consideration too. While I may not be a huge fan of its initial design, the battling and godlike stats it brings to the table more than enough makes up for it. Like, I swear its design isn't all that great to me. It's grown on me a little bit, but it still isn't my favorite Pokemon by any means. But like I say, just because the design is bad, doesn't mean it's not great. Probopass? Yeah, that can eat a chestnut though. Okay, so this Pokemon is purely on here strictly for bias. I swear there are no other Pokemon on this list like that are like that. When I mean bias, I mean like it's one of my favorite Pokemon. I like these Pokemon, but they aren't my favorites. Hatterene though, yeah. Anywho though, without going on a tangent as to why I like it, there's actually another reason I have Hatterene on here as well. The reasoning is because of its speed. I think some people don't like using Hatterene due to its abysmal speed. 29 base speed is completely garbage. However, its defenses and attack stats are not. I usually always pass on using a Pokemon in a playthrough if I know it's super slow. Going through when I played Pokemon Sword the first time, I didn't know Hatterene was as slow as it is. When I saw, I contemplated heavily. Then a friend of mine told me to keep her. I listened, and I don't regret it. The power this hat monster has is unreal. Fairy and Psychic reminded me of a slower Gardevoir. So it's got power, an amazing design, and the ability to use some fun utility. I think everyone can have fun using Hatterene. Don't let its speed change your mind. Just shy of the number 1 spot, we have the biggest star of the Galar region being Galarian Darmanitan. I'm sure most of you expected this Pokemon to be number 1, but that spot is reserved for another Pokemon for more personal reasons. More on that in a little bit. But yeah, a list like this without Galarian Darmanitan is a completely invalid list. This Pokemon is single-handedly the best Pokemon out of Sword and Shield for one reason, and one reason alone: Guerrilla Tactics. For those of you that don't know, Guerrilla Tactics is just Choice Band, but is an ability, meaning its attack increases 50% at the cost of locking yourself into one move. Most people don't use competitive items during their in-game, so essentially, turning one into an ability is honestly one of the wildest things I've ever seen Game Freak do. And if you do decide to use an item during a playthrough, yeah, GG for all those NPCs. Darmanitan is just so powerful and has a wide move pool to choose from that it would just be silly to never give this thing a shot if you're able to. I mean, there's a reason it was able to make it into Ubers without being a legendary Pokemon, or needing a Mega, or getting a Gigantamax form. Also, quick side note, if you don't like the idea of being locked into one move, you can try your luck getting a Zenmo Darmanitan in a max raid battle. With that, you'll be greeted by an insanely cool Ice/Fire type Snowman with incredibly high speed and attack. Either of them are fantastic options. Galarian Darmanitan is just so good, and I honestly can't recommend it enough. Lastly is a kind of favorite Pokemon of mine, being Galarian Corsola and Cursula. If anything, I like Cursula more for its shiny than anything else, but it does have some nice stats and such that can be fun to use. It's one of those slower Pokemon, like how I mentioned earlier with Hatterene, but I think that Cursula is a lot more optimal and fun to use. This is more of a wall-like Pokemon, and still carries a lot of the previous moves Johtonian Corsola has, being all the water attacks. I love using all the water attacks on Cursula because I can have the best of both worlds of having both Corsola lines at my disposal. The main reason I think everyone should use Cursula is because I think it's underrated with a lot of diversity in its move pool. It's not your typical ghost type Pokemon at all. Most ghost type Pokemon are glass cannons, unless we're talking about Trevenant or Cofagrigus. Plus, look at how sad it is. These guys just want attention. Oh, and the real main reason I want people to use this Pokemon is because of how sad they are. Show them some love. Well, that pretty much wraps up this list of the top 10 Pokemon I think people should use in Sword and Shield. Give these Pokemon a chance in your playthroughs. I think they'd be very happy if you did. What other Pokemon do you think people should use though? Let me know down below, as well as tell me your favorite Pokemon you use in Pokemon Sword and Shield. If you enjoyed the video, why not leave a like and subscribe to my channel with notifications on, that way you never miss an upload. If you want to support me further, consider following my Twitch where I stream a lot of Pokemon content and all kinds of other Nintendo content like Zelda, Fire Emblem, and much more. Also, I've been reviewing every episode of My Hero Academia Season 4 over on Mystic Sage, so head over there if you're into that too. I would love that a lot. Want to support me further in game called Perks? Check out my Patreon. Daniel Leone, Lady Crimson, Memory Martin, The Lazy Leo, Matthew Young, Awesome Lego, Jarrett Weiss Austin, Sodden Grider, Nigma97, and Kermit117 did, and I want to thank them personally for going above and beyond. It means the world to me. I think I'm gonna wrap this up though. I'm MysticUmbreon, and I will see you in the future for more awesome Pokemon content.